2023, the year of enormous food shortage. Do this now. Another bleak year is expected for food security. As the Ukraine conflict enters its second year and climate change wreaks havoc globally, experts predict another year of catastrophic consequences for global food security. So what can we do to address the food security crisis and bring about long-term change? Watch this video to get ready for the times ahead. When food systems fail, societies fail. This is what Geraldine Matchett, co-CEO of Royal DSM and co-chair of CEOs for Food, Nature, and Health at the World Economic Forum says about the upcoming food crisis. In 2022, we had food, energy, and fertilizer shortages all at the same time. But we didn't deal with the problems in time to keep the food system from failing in 2023. As a result, many more people will go hungry, people will lose their jobs, and prices will keep going up around the world. We need to take bolder steps and learn more about how to deal with this problem. We need to look at complex, whole system solutions like tackling climate change and food security at the same time. So how can we fix the world food crisis? We can apply the 3 ways that systemic solutions can be made more urgent and last longer. Starting with number 1, enabling a return on regenerative food systems. How we grow and eat food can buy us time when it comes to climate change and help us get to net zero faster. Today, food systems are responsible for more than 1/3 of greenhouse gas emissions, making them the second largest emitter after energy. However, only a small amount of climate finance goes to agri-food solutions to stop these effects. Farmers can get better crop yields from regenerative food systems, and emissions can be cut all along the agri-food value chain. Croplands and pastures can also become carbon sinks. As a natural climate solutions, the food and land use sector could contribute up to 37% of the climate mitigation needed to reach 2030 climate goals. In order to move to regenerative and climate-smart agri-food systems, it will be important to take a truly inclusive approach that gives farmers and other actors in the supply chain a clear idea of what they will get out of it, offers them viable financial solutions, data standards, and good management, and most importantly, builds trust. Increased trust in carbon markets would encourage a series of steps to reduce transition risks. These steps include automating data collection tools and services for farmers, building precise risk models and credit instruments, setting up verification through supply chains, and involving an untapped equity finance ecosystem. Farmers all over the world, especially smallholder farmers, have to deal with the effects of climate change and food insecurity, but they can't do it alone. They need to see a return on regenerative food systems, and we need to help them with tools and partners. The second thing we can do is verify that demand signals are not insufficient. As we change how we grow food to make it healthier and more sustainable, we must make sure that market demand doesn't drop. As countries and businesses switch to more climate-smart and regenerative agri-food systems, they are making big bets. The race to net zero and ESG commitments are still driving innovation in business models, public-private partnerships, and policy changes. However, do we have enough tools to build market demand for healthy, nutritious, and environmentally sustainable food? At COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, 14 companies pledged to the agriculture sector roadmap to meet 1.5C to eliminate deforestation from supply chains by 2025 while protecting global food systems and producer livelihoods. African heads of state from Kenya, Namibia, and other countries made big plans for investments and policies for green hydrogen fertilizer to help the whole continent reach its goals of food security and net zero production. From a supply side, there are strong signs that food production need to change, but the food industry has been slow to make promises to buy and eat in new ways. To make these changes, it will take leadership, starting with buying commitments, off-taker systems for farmers, procurement policies, and ending with aligning corporate incentives, transparency through standardized data, and help for consumers. Balancing the amount of food on the market with how much people want it will help stop future food crises, which are now inevitable. The third strategy we can use is to invest in country-led changes to food systems. Countries are showing that it's worth a shared risk to invest in smart ways to change food systems. Since the inaugural United Nations Food Systems Summit in 2021, 117 nations have pledged to improve their food systems in accordance with the Sustainable Development Goals established by the United Nations. A new report from the World Economic Forum and Bain says that high-performing food systems provide healthy and nutritious diets, create inclusive and dignified jobs, grow the economy, fight climate change, and help people adapt to it and protect biodiversity and nature. In the report, 7 early mover countries from Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Americas show what it takes to invest in changing food systems. Strategic sectors in India, Vietnam, and Ghana show how countries can change their food systems to improve a wider range of outcomes by releasing the potential of small and medium businesses, especially those that work with farmers and are part of local food chains. Countries can use innovation to improve productivity, sustainability, and nutrition. For example, Algeria has improved food security even though it has limited resources like water, and Vietnam has increased rice production in a way that doesn't hurt the environment. Examples from Canada and New Zealand show how to make nature-friendly and climate-smart food production more widespread, with a focus on how it can help producers make more money. There are areas of success in many countries that can be used as a model for shifting consumption towards healthier and more sustainable diets through price interventions from both public and private actors, clearer consumer communication and engagement, and more access and availability. Each of these profiles of early mover countries shows how different actors and levers in different sectors interact and work together to make big changes over time. As a whole collection of learnings and insights, they show that these levers could speed up country-led changes to food systems if they were used together and with more urgency. Now, every country needs to do something for the plan to work. And do you know which foods are predicted to be in short supply in the year 2023? Well, let us now go over that. Bread. Because of the war in Ukraine, you might find less bread on store shelves this year. Ukraine is one of the world's biggest grain producers, and since the country's grain exports are down 60%, we will probably feel the effects of this very soon. Beer. Beer is expected to be more expensive and harder to get in 2023 because of problems with the supply chain that goes back to before the pandemic and rising inflation costs. When you add that to the fact that crop yields are being hurt by droughts and there isn't enough CO2, it spells trouble for brewers and beer drinkers alike. Canned food. You might think that canned food is a good way to add to your emergency food supply. Once upon a time, canned food was a cheap option that could be stored for a long time and gave people food security during food shortages or emergencies. But there has been a shortage of aluminum for a few years, which has slowed down production and caused prices to go up for both canned foods for people and canned food for pets. Champagne. Why champagne is on the list has to do with how much people want it. Since 2020, there has been a huge rise in demand for champagne. The demand for this has been so high that suppliers can't meet it. This is because champagne takes years to get just right, and we're just starting to feel the effects of high demand and low supply this year. Corn. Argentina, which is also a big exporter of corn, had a smaller crop this year. Luckily, the U.S. is also a major source of corn. Customers in the European Union usually get their corn from Ukraine and South American countries, so this shortage is likely to affect them more. Pet food. Several things get in the way of production in the pet food business, which is a shame. One of these factors is the lack of packaging, such as the lack of aluminum. Raw ingredients that go into pet food are also hard to get. Cooking oil. Canada makes the most canola oil, but last year's crop yield was very low. Due to drought, South America also had a small crop of soybean oil, which is usually grown there. Oranges. Storms in the south did a lot of damage to orange orchards, so there are fewer oranges and orange products at the store. Since records began in 1913, this is the worst thing that has ever happened to a country's orange crop. Beef. Because there is less beef available, prices are likely to go up. The problem with availability may be caused in part by the USDA's prediction that the average American will eat 5.6% less beef this year, which would be the biggest drop since 1987. Because of this shortage, you may buy different cuts of beef at the store. And eggs. Due to a shortage, egg prices have gone through the roof. The bird flu killed a lot of laying hens, which caused this shortage. More than 57 million birds around the world have been sickened by this flu. Be prepared for these possible food shortages and let us know what you think about the video. Also, do subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and press the bell icon for more updates.